3, 2.
What?
Nneka!
What's going on, Michael Johnson?
I am good, young lady. How are you doing today?
I am good. I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I know it's been a little bit like we're having these breaks here, but I get it. I get it. We're both super busy.
Yeah, it's been filming the Silver Fox Squad reality show has been amazing. But there's a lot of work, a whole lot of work that goes into it. So super excited about this, and can't wait for you guys to see it. It's unbelievable. It really is.
I am looking.
Really is.
So can you?
Yeah,
say
it's gonna be great.
Be
I really want to tell you about it, but I can't.
Okay. You can't say when it's gonna be released or anything.
No, we don't know yet. We're still trying to figure out when it's going to be released ourselves. So hopefully I'll know soon, but right now we don't know because we're still filming. We're on episode 6 this week.
How many episodes? Can you say that?
10. It's 10 episodes.
Wow.
We're on 6. Yep. We got really blessed. I have to tell you the whole story, but we got really blessed. The network picked us up. Bounce Network. Shout out to Bounce Network. Shout out to Scripps. To everybody involved with this project. Just an amazing thing. But they picked us up for 1 season so far. We're praying that they pick us up for many more. We believe in that 2 or 3, 4, 5, and 6 are right around the corner. So yeah,
that'll be wonderful.
Yeah,
good. Congratulations! I'm so happy.
Thank you. Yeah, television land. Who would have thought? Hold on 1 second. Let me grab something else. Almost got one thing that I really need, y'all. Okay, I would never ever do that again. But I left my phone, and I needed it because I got some notes in there that I wanted to talk to you about. So, okay. Nneka, on tonight, you and I have talked about this subject a couple times now, and I'm gonna let you take the lead on it because I got a lot of questions for you as this relates to this topic. And this is right up your alley, I think, too. I know it is because I've done a lot of research on it now. Let's just get to the topic. The topic is the soft life or a soft lie. And I have really been looking at this. And one of the things I've seen, it is not all of what I thought it was. Before I get into it, I want to hear from you because I know this subject I think it does something to you a little bit. And I think on tonight, we can put some myths to bed and try to figure out what it is. So what we want to do on tonight, we're going to talk about the soft life, what it is, what it isn't, who does it apply to, the misnomers, and all those kinds of things, the lies, the truths about this soft life thing. So, Nneka, I turn over to you, young lady, to tell us, first of all, what is this thing called the soft life?
Well, it may be many perspectives of it, but from what I understand is it's a woman that wants a life of leisure, right? It doesn't mean that she doesn't want to earn her own money or anything like that, but she wants to vacation. She wants to shop. She wants her earnings to be her earnings. She doesn't want to have to be, committed to paying bills. It's an option. It's optional, that type of thing. So she wants her man to be able to take care of things and her not have to worry about working if she doesn't want to. Her money is her money, and that's it. So she doesn't really want to have to contribute to the household, probably like cooking, maybe not even that, getting a housekeeper, somebody getting a nanny, somebody, watching the kids. And so that's what I understand it to believe, but everybody's version is probably different. What's your understanding, Michael?
So my understanding is very much like yours. This soft life, as I understand it, and from what I've come to read, I've done a lot of reading, by the way, a lot of just watching the online videos and stuff. But from what I gather, it's pretty much what you just said. It's come about, and it's mainly I hear more Black women talking about this soft life than anyone. But there are white women who do it as well. It's not, relegated to Black or white, but I hear more Black women talking about it. It's a fairly new thing. And it is what you say. It's a lot of women who have felt like they've carried the load for a long time. They've stressed over different things. They've, had to give up a lot of things, but not been able to enjoy sometimes the fruit of their labor. And so now what they want is to be able to have that life of luxury, right? To not have to pay bills. to not have to worry and stress about money. But the kicker to it is pretty much what you said, Nneka. It's relying on someone else to be the provider or the person who takes care of all their needs, wants, desires, I guess, as far as is concerned, primarily financially. And so that's what I've gathered as the misnomer. Because what happened was I found out that there are other women now who come along and say, whoa, 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 that could be a soft life. But what the soft life really means, Nneka, is this is what I found, and I've seen it like a million times now. It's actually a life of balance. It's a life of peace. It's a life where your nervous system stays intact. So, you know, when you are stressed all the time, you're having problems, your nervous system is constantly on attack. So you can't rest. You can't relax well. You can't sleep. You can't do any of these things because you're so always on. You're so always wound up because of these stressors, if you will. And so what I found is a lot of women have come back and said, no, the soft life is really being able to not worry as much about those things that we just talked about. So you really get prepared in advance. So you don't have to worry about, well, how my bills going to get paid? If I got, you know, this going on and this going on, how is it going to get taken care of? It's because I was able to take care of it, but I was able to do it in such a way that it led up to me being able to do it. But what I've seen mostly, Nneka, because I've heard very little about this part, I've heard more about the part is I want a man to take care of all my stuff. That's the soft life. I want to marry into some situation or get with some guy who can take care of all these things, and I ain't got to worry about nothing. I wake up when I want. I go to the bathroom when I want. I go on vacation when I want. I do whatever I want, however I want, whenever I want, because somebody else is taking care of all these different things.
Yeah. Well, Michael, I want to be honest. That version of it, I am thoroughly irritated with it. Because you know what, Michael? I feel like a soft life should be reserved to somebody that has had a hard life, right? So you think about the woman who has cancer, the cancer to rip through her family. Think about the woman who has had a severely mentally challenged child. You know, so when I hear people say they want a soft life, to me, those are the people who's deserving of a soft life. If you ain't had to battle with cancer or chronic illness and all the things that people battle with, no jobs, always trying to make ends meet, being on the struggle bus, and they try their best to do what they need to do to stay afloat. To me, the soft life, it's like when you have had a hard life, at some point, you should have a soft life. I'm okay with having a firm life. I don't have to have, that's not realistic to me. It's not realistic for me to have, I mean, there's going to be moments of softness, but to say that my life has to be soft says basically, if it's hard, what you going to do? You going to jump ship? What you going to do? Because life is going to be hard sometimes. It's not going to always be soft. So understand you're going to have some soft moments, some hard moments, some firm moments. And so in my opinion, Michael, I don't like to hear that word soft life, because if you ain't been through the gutter, if you ain't gone through anything at all, like I said, I've had a friend who cancer has ripped through her household. She deserves a soft life. So I'm not buying it. I get irritated to hear that word when it's the version of, I don't really want to do a whole bunch. I want somebody to just take care of me. No. Nope.
No, Nneka, I 100% agree with you. So there have been a couple of versions to this, what we're talking about, that I've had some experience in. The Silver Fox Squad, we were used. I don't know if I ever shared the video with you. I should have pulled it up and added it for tonight. But what I'll do is I'll post it a little bit later. But it was this woman. I don't know who she is, Nneka. She went viral off of some of the members of the Silver Fox Squad, including myself. As a matter of fact, so she has, I think it's like 6 men in this video. They're black men, and then she has these white guys. And the whole premise of her video is these men will never give you the soft life, the black guys, right? Because they're too busy living the soft life themselves. And so how can they do it if they won't, how can they do it? Because they're too involved in themselves to actually do this for somebody else. And it was really bad, Anika. She went in on us, making us seem like, we weren't really no good, this, that, and the other, encouraging Black women, by the way, to actually look outside of their race to, find somebody who would provide them this soft life. Because the word I kept hearing, Anika, and I hear this a lot, which kind of irritates me, I'm deserving of the soft life. And to your point, they're literally saying that I deserve to have this. And I'm seeing like women that are in their 20s and 30s. And I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, I know women in their 40s and 50s who have struggled, who have built nothing, got it out the mud like yourself and others. And I hear these young girls come along and I'm like, you don't have really no skin in the game. Like, what have you done to say that you deserve such a life? And what I get from this, Anika, is there's we talked about this before, pretty privilege. So you got a lot of these women who are pretty, and what they do is they use that privilege, they use their bodies in exchange for, these things: a handbag, a vacation, an apartment paid for, maybe a house paid for, cars paid for, this lavish life that they want to lead. But I guess one of my questions is, what happens if that goes away? What then do you do if the person who provides this soft life now walks away? How do you survive? How do you provide your sustenance? Like, what does that look like? So it's been an interesting experiment and experience to walk through and look at some of these videos and listen to these women. Anika, I tell you, I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, man, our age group, our generation has really, I don't know, we thought that we didn't want our kids to have to struggle, or we said we didn't want our kids to struggle. And so what we did was we took a lot of the struggle away from them and put it on our shoulders. So even their struggles, we have put on our shoulders to bear that burden, right?
True.
And what's happened is, because, and this is my opinion, because we've done that, these kids don't know how to fight. They don't know how to struggle. They don't know how to get it out the mud. They will cry that they don't have this, that, and the other. Nneka, we ain't have none of that stuff.
Nothing. Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, Michael, it's that word just make my skin crawl. I think about, me being married. Been married 22 years come September. And, when my parents divorced, my mother was, she was a single mom. So we did a lot. Me and my sister, my older sister, we did a lot. Rake the leaves, shovel the snow, check my oil, make sure it was right. We did all of that kind of stuff. So when I got married to Fred, and he was like, you don't have to work that hard. You know that, right? And I'm like, and Michael, to this day, it is hard. Fred just bought me a new car. It is hard for me to receive. And people are like, girl, your husband can do it. I'm like, I don't want him to. I want to do it myself. So on one end, it's like he can provide that, but that's not what I want from him, because that's not how I grew up. You can't make me. I guess some people can grow up that way, how I grew up. Not that it was hard, like it was super hard, but I didn't have a man in the household to help provide. It was my mom. So it's like, it's hard for me to receive that. It really is. It's not one of those things where I can just sit back, and it's just hard. So when I hear it, it irritates me. Someone asked me, was I a feminist? And I'm like, maybe moderately, because I feel like.
You think so?
Moderately, because I don't feel like I need somebody to take care of me. I don't like that feeling of, I feel like if you can do it, I can do it. I don't like the idea of being dependent on someone. Now, can I rely on you? Yes, but I don't like the feeling of being dependent on someone. Fred has never made me feel that way because he's the higher earner in our family. However, I will never take advantage of that. I just can't. It's just not in me to do. So that's why I'm so sensitive to this soft life, because it's just like, why? If you have the ability, because we all have a purpose in this world, and I feel like, fulfill your purpose. Why wouldn't you not want to fulfill that? Why would you want to not struggle? I want to struggle so I can learn something.
Nneka, this generation is not built like us. We really, I feel like we've done a disservice, to be quite honest with you, because again, a lot of the struggle that you and I had, our kids don't have that. These kids of this generation don't have this, Nneka. They don't have to do all the Pell Grants. You know, we struggle. You know, my wife and I know you did. You know, I don't know if you did this or not, but man, Nneka, putting my kids through college was a struggle. Like I had to put my life on hold for a minute because I had 3 daughters in college at the same time. One went to school, and the other 2, by the time my oldest daughter was a junior, her sisters were freshmen. I got 3 girls, identical twins, Nneka, so all 3 in college at one time. Woo! And look, Nneka, I begged my daughters to go to school. We were in Maryland, so I was like, I want y'all to go to school in Maryland. They was like, we don't want to go to school in Maryland. They knew where they wanted to go. My oldest daughter, Nneka, went to Berkeley College of Music. My twin daughters went to Johnson & Wales, one of the best culinary art schools in the country. Wow. They were all in school at the same time.
They were like, nope, Daddy. Make it work. Make it work, Pops.
Make that thing work. So, you know, a lot of it, that was, and they went to private school pretty much their whole lives. You know, so I never caught a break with that. I don't complain, but yeah. But you know what? I have friends of mine, Nneka, that were old school, and I kind of wish now to taking an old school approach. My friends are like, Mike, why are you paying for private school? Why are you paying? Nneka, I had this experience. I went to see a financial advisor right before my first daughter went to college, probably in her junior year. And my financial advisor said, Mike, I'm going to tell you something that you ain't going to want to hear. Don't put your daughters in private school. Take them out of private school, put them in public school, let them earn their way through college. She was like, I'm going to tell you this, and I know you don't want to hear it. She said, if you follow my plan right now, in 10 years, you can retire as a multimillionaire. Take all the money that you're going to spend and putting them in college and putting them in private school. 10 years, you'll be a multi-millionaire. And I told that lady, I can't do that. She said, Michael, I'm telling you, you're throwing away money after good money. And she said, in other cultures, we don't do this. If they aren't got scholarships, you know, let them earn their way through school, because what's going to happen when they're done with school, you're going to have the debt that they would have incurred. And I was like, no, I can't do that to my kids. And so, you know, we did some student loan stuff, but we paid a lot of money. Right. And I wish now I had done that. So I tell parents all the time, if your kids don't go to a school that you can afford, meaning like they get scholarships or they go to school for free, don't you go in your pocket, because my retirement money was wrapped up into putting them in private school, putting them in college. And she said, Michael, your retirement, I can tell you, I'm watching your retirement leave your pocket.
Wow.
Yeah. But I don't regret it. I'm like, you know what? God gonna give it to me another way. And she, you know, when financial advisors don't want to hear that, they like, God gave it to you. This is it. I'm giving you the advice. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, I can't do that. So we didn't wind up doing it. So I always tell parents now, listen, if I had to do all over again, I would have did this. So my kids actually, they all got scholarships to Maryland schools free. They could have went to school free, all of them 4 years. They didn't want to go. And I decided, me and my wife decided, we're not gonna make them do something they want, which was a mistake. Now looking back for us, we believe.
You think
because so? I do think so. Because I would not have had the debt. Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of money on college for them. You know, at the end of the day, my daughters are, and I love my kids to life, you know. But it put me in a situation where I might have to work another 20 or 30 years to get that money back, if I ever get that money back. Right?
Did they finish, right? Did they finish?
Oh, they all finished. They all finished.
It's worth it.
My twin daughters finished in 3.5 years. And my oldest daughter got on 4 years. So they all finished. They all finished, went to school, did their thing. But I think, you know, even with the little bit of student loans they have, or the student loans they have, they look back and they was like, I could have went to school free.
So they looking back on it, saying that.
They looking back on it too, because they're like, I wouldn't have had any debt. I would have been, in fact, they would have been paid to go to school, because they would have gotten some money while they was there to do that. Now, I actually did that when they was in school. I gave all my kids money, but still, it was different. My point being, you know, a lot of these kids now want the soft life, because, Nneka, we really have put them in that position where we don't really make a lot of demands about kids. I see some of my friends, kids, you know, they doing this, that, and the other. I'm like, damn, my mother, when I was 20, 21, I had the speech, Nneka. I can rehearse it. I knew it backwards and forwards. Hey, when you graduate from college, this won't be your home long. It won't. Like you got 6 months to get this thing right, and then after that, you're gonna be paying full grown bills like the rest of us around here. That's how this works. And when I went to college, my mother told me, she said, look, hey, I can't afford to put you in school. We don't have that money. If you want to go, that'll be on you. I had to pay my own way, nigga. Yeah. The whole entire ride. So, the soft life thing, would I wanted the soft life? I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm like, nigga, now I'm like, I have no idea, about this soft life thing. Like, I don't necessarily agree with it.
What do you learn? There's no lessons learned. I would see a movie called Moana. I don't know if you've ever seen Moana.
No, what is that?
But it's basically The Rock. It's like an animated. It's not a kids show, but it's for adults too. It's a movie, but they kind of made it into a human version instead of animated. And basically, it's just a very touching movie, and it pretty much speaks to there are going to be obstacles in life.
Yep.
And in those obstacles, you learn so much, because without them, you learn nothing. You don't grow as a person. And this girl had so many obstacles. She was kind of over her tribe. Her parents made her over this tribe, and her father didn't want her to go past this one point in the ocean. And she decided to go past the one point, and it was all these demons and things she had to fight, and she fought it, and she came back safe, and she had a lot of obstacles. And so in life, there will be obstacles, but if you don't allow those obstacles, you try to, avoid them, you aren't learning anything. That's how character is built. So.
No, I 100% agree with you. I mean, without those, you won't know how to face adversity at some point. Because, I guess it's somewhere in your life, like you said, you're going to run into a bump in the road. And if you haven't dealt with any other bumps, how do you deal with them? Right. And what we see a lot of times that a lot of people can't deal with it. That's why they're in therapy right now. You have some people who are like, and I don't, this is sometimes I look at Nneka and I'm like, man, I'm seeing 20 and 30-year-olds suffer with depression. They're going through these crises. And I'm like, what in life have you experienced at 20 and 30 something? And I know people experience things, but what have you experienced that has caused this? You're too young. Nneka, we're in our 50s. And I look back all the time when I say this, I didn't have time for like a crisis, right? Because I was too involved in trying to figure out life. Yeah. You got 3 kids and a wife you got to take care of. That's a lot. I mean, it can be a lot. I don't knock it, because I enjoyed the time that I had with my kids as, when they were kids. But man, nigga, I struggle. I'm not one of these ones who out here saying, oh yeah, life just no.
But look at where you are now, though.
And I think the reason is, and I thank my mother for this, I thank her for not taking on my struggles or not doing some of the things. They talk about the power of the word no. And sometimes people need to hear the word no. And I'm glad she told me no a few times, especially at critical points and pivotal points in my life, where had I not been told no when she done it, I don't know where I'd be. Because you're right, Nneka, I doubt that I'd be sitting here talking to you today.
Oh, yeah.
I doubt it.
Likewise, I wouldn't be here either if I did go through the struggle. I still have struggles.
What? Man, Jesus. Question for you. This whole idea of the soft life, we talked about this version that we've seen that we don't like a lot. But what about the other version of the soft life where you now begin to look at, and I do agree with this, and I think you might as well. It's dealing with taking time off of yourself to understand my health is my wealth. And especially like my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical health. I now begin to start focusing in on these things as as a part of this soft life living, where now I'm maintaining and I'm making sure that, okay, on a day-to-day basis, what am I doing to make sure that I'm okay? Right? When a situation does arise, what do I do to not go overboard? I don't explode. I don't do something violent. What am I doing to manage those crises in this kind of thing? Like, it's one of the things, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, Nneka, but I go to the spa at least once a month. I have to go. It's a part of and I guess I would call it my soft life. I don't know if that's the right word.
Self-care. It's self-care.
Thank you. It's self-care. Actually, that's not, yeah. I actually, you know what? It is self-care, right? And so just going, because I've learned that going to a sauna, what it does to your psyche, what it does to your body, what it does to your spirit. And so I feel it each and every time I go. And I've just started incorporating some of those practices into my everyday, even breathing exercises. One of the things I did, Nneka, when I came to Atlanta was, and I've never really done this in my life, and I was listening to a poet today, Maya Angelou, talk about this, and that sometimes you need to sit with yourself. Turn off the TV, turn off the radio, put your phone down. Don't get on, don't start talking to somebody, having these conversations at the water cooler. But you need to learn how to be with yourself and sit with yourself for a minute. And I've never really done that in my entire life till I got here, because my wife is in another city, my kids in another city. So I'm kind of here by myself, and I haven't been this way since I was 22.
So right now you're in Atlanta?
Yeah, in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And so I've had to spend, just to set this up, my wife and I have never spent more than probably 8 days apart from one another, where now we're a little bit longer. So I got to manage my time, right? I got to manage my thoughts. Like where I'm used to having somebody in my space, for a lot of the time, I don't have that. And so I've had to learn how to manage my time and manage all of these other things. Like for instance, and I'm not ashamed to say, I don't cook, right? My wife normally does probably 98% of the cooking.
Yeah.
And so now I got to do that, right? After I'm done eating dinner, I might be sitting on my stuff. But what I've learned is, man, there's some things that I probably needed to take care of just being by myself. And this is why God has given me this time to kind of just reflect and think about things, think about relationships that I should be in, some that I shouldn't be in. Do I need to revisit? Do I need to go back to apologize? Am I owed apologies? Are there things that I need to let go? So I could sit with these things, my business, how should I, manage that? This is what I'm doing right now. Yeah. How do I do that? Prayer, all those things. And it's been absolutely wonderful to do that. And I know some people don't take the time. This is why I really want to talk to you about this part of what I found about the soft life. And talking to you about it, and wanted to have you talk about some of those things. And then, Nneka, what do you do? Because you're a therapist, Nneka.
Right.
Who is your therapist? Like, who does the therapist go to? I mean, like, who does the doctor go to? Who does the therapist go to? You got to listen to people's problems all day long.
Yeah, we have our own therapist. I have my own therapist. That's important. Yeah, because, people are, you're taking in so much that I make sure the people that I spend time with are healthy people.
Yep.
If you wasn't a healthy person, if you wasn't a good person, I wouldn't be doing this with you at all. So I protect the people that I'm around. I'm very intentional about my space. So everything is kind of therapeutic for me. It's just like my space, who I spend time with, my work, how my office is set up, how my house is set up. Everything is my sanctuary. So, yeah. And then prayer, my relationship with God, so important. And that can be challenging sometimes, because when things happen and you're just like, God, why? It's just like, life can be heavy. So, yeah.
Life can be happy. I mean, a lot of times, depending on what's going on, we got a lot of different dynamics, right? You talk about just your relationship at work and the things you got to do there, your relationship with Fred, your relationship with your kids, and not just your kids as a whole, but each one of your kids, because all of them need some type of your attention. And it's a different attention depending on who the child is. It's not like you got 3 kids or 4 kids and you just pay them all the same attention. No, they all require something different of you. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And to your point, I love what you said about managing relationships, because I'm like you. I'm like, if I don't want to spend time with people, I'm not doing it. Like, that's one of the things too, Nneka, that I had to sit with when I came here. I was like starting to look at these relationships that I have, and I'm saying to myself, okay, where do I do X's and O's at? Like, some of this stuff got to get cut off. Some of it is just not productive, right? And even, you got relatives sometimes, I gotta treat you, like I got the stiff arm you like I just got the Heisman Award. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep you at bay because it messes with my mental. And I need for my mental health to be the best it can be, because, you get older, like everything else, it starts to decline. Yeah. And the best way to maintain that is to figure out, okay, what do I have to do to live this soft life, if you will? I do have another question for you too. Are men entitled to the soft life? Because we don't ever hear women talk about men having a soft life. I've only heard women talk about having a soft life.
Well, men may not talk about it because the macho type, in some the toxic masculinity. Yep. And I don't think that's toxic that men don't say that. But my daughter, who is 20, she said to me the other day, the guys that she talks to, they often ask her to borrow money. The money. What? Yeah, let me tell you what she told me one day. She said, "Ma," she talked to me. And she wants to come on here and talk about relationships. She was talking to this guy. He asked her, "Can he borrow $50?" Oh. She says, "No." He said, "Well, what about 30?"
Oh my God. The nigga, where your daughter at? Where is she at? Where your daughter at, Nneka?
She's in her dorm. I took her back.
Listen, we're gonna bring her on because I want to talk about this.
She was like, "Mom," it was like no shame. She said, "I hadn't even known him for a couple days." He went to 50. She said, "No. What about 30?" I said, "Well, you know not to give." She says, "No, Mom." I said, "You know not to ask for money from nobody." I said, "You got a family. You don't need to ask nobody for money." And so I think that's how some guys kind of go about it. I'm Gen X, right? She Gen Z. I've never had in my Gen X life a man ask me for money. So I think my Gen X men, ain't no man ever asked me for no money.
Yeah, we ain't built like that.
No, I'm like, what? She was irritated.
And she should have been. I mean, how, I don't understand as a man, how do you fix your lips to ask a woman for money?
$50, and then go down to 30. I'm like, oh,
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But I do think when we talk about the idea of a soft life on this other side, where it's just really maintaining your nervous system, taking care of yourself, protecting your peace, if you will, all these kinds of things. I do believe men and women are entitled to that. Like, you really need to do those things just to be able to function, especially for those of us who are Gen Xers, where we have been through a lot. Like, we suffer with a lot of trauma that we haven't dealt with.
Oh, yeah.
And I find in doing this, this self-care, if you will, I'm glad you said that, and going back and thinking about, some things that have happened in the past and how I've dealt with them, or maybe, Nneka, how I have not dealt with them.
Yeah.
Right. Like a lot of people do. Just been thinking about it. I was like, all right, I need to unpack some of this stuff and deal with it. And I've started doing it. I'm just like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's just, it has to be done. At some point, decisions need to be made about how do you move forward, or you don't move forward. Right. And so just learning that and understanding that power of no, because sometimes some of us have a problem with saying no. Like, we say yes so many times,
but we
never utilize the word no. Not that we're trying to hurt somebody, but that it's good for us to say no because we need to say no.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's going to cost us something. Because me not saying no to you is going to cost me something. It won't cost you anything because I just did what you asked me to do or gave you what you asked me to give you. I did the heavy lifting. You did all the receiving.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you and I have so much of a problem with this soft life, the other version of it, where you have one person who is gimme.
Yeah.
And they're not giving anything to the relationship. They feel like, oh, because I brought my presence, because I brought my body, because I brought this prettiness or this handsomeness or whatever it was, that's enough. And that should be enough for you.
Yeah, it's that entitlement. It's those chronic takers, we call them. Chronic takers. And you got chronic givers.
And
it's just like, you gotta balance that out a bit, Like some people aren't aware that they're doing it. If no one corrects them, it's like if everybody's just giving it to you, and no one's like, well, my daughter, I'm sure the young man, he probably has been able to ask young ladies for money, give it to him. And so he's just going down the line. Like, who can I ask next?
That's sad.
Yeah.
That is really sad to hear. I mean, how do we deal with, Nneka, these people who, especially these women, because again, they're more, I see more of it than anything. And I'm sure there's some men on the other side, the negative side of this, soft life thing. How do we deal with these people? Like how do we deal with them?
I think you got to hold people accountable. There's little accountability for people's actions. It's just like, no, people are so afraid to speak up to people because a lot of them just don't communicate well. They'll cut you off before they kind of put you, now I hate to say, for lack of a better term, put you in your place. It's just like, you know what, you done pissed me off, so I ain't gonna just talk to you no more. I'm just gonna cut you. Instead of just like, somebody offends you, let's talk about it. It ain't gotta be the end of things, but people just don't know how to communicate. And so people choose not to. So I feel like holding people accountable for their actions. When you see bad behavior, point it out. You see good behavior, point that out too. But I think people just we don't hold each other accountable. Lack of accountability.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, because that's interesting you say that. And this has more to do with something else than that. Do you feel like you hold all the people in your life accountable, like with your children? Because sometimes I find it hard, even as an adult. I have an adult children to hold them accountable in a sense, like, and this is what I'm learning, to not hold them accountable to necessarily my standard. Because Nneka, our standards, the standard I have was built on what my mother taught me. So, for example, on Saturday mornings, Nneka, when we was kids, what did you do on Saturday mornings?
Do housework.
Absolutely. Saturday mornings, I couldn't even think about going outside before, like, the toilet was clean, the floors was mopped, my clothes was washed, room was clean. My kids ain't had that kind of expectations put on them. And that was my fault, right? Early on, I think I might have did it, but I didn't reinforce it. Like, my mother was like, I'm going to tell you this once and one time only. This is not the lecture you get every single weekend. I knew when I was a kid, you get up Saturday mornings, that's what you did. I didn't have to have my parents keep telling me over and over and over and over, blah, blah, blah. My mother wasn't that kind of person. She wasn't a talker like that. She was like, she was this kind of talker. I'm saying it one time. I'm assuming that something must not be working in your head right if I got to say it a second time. Because if I have to say it a second time, the message will not sound the same.
Ooh, it won't. The volume goes up.
Come on now. Second time. Don't let it be a third time. A third time is not. Third time is not.
Start playing.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It wasn't that way. And I just wonder. So now I know I have to reestablish standards, like with my kids, even other people, because I realized my wife had to say this to me. She's like, everybody's not built like you. Like, you can't put this type of standard on everybody. The standards are different for all people. I'm not saying don't have standards, but that everybody sometimes can't live up to your standard, because your standard was built, based on how you grew up, right? And everybody didn't grow up like you.
Yeah. When I say accountability, it's not so much, my standard. Let's just say someone promised, my kid, like, if they say they're going to, let's say my kids say they drive, right? If I say I need you to do something for me, and then you don't make good on what I asked you to do, there's an exchange. We help each other out as family. And if you don't do that, or you forget, or you're late, because some of my kids, they worked at my office as receptionists. And if you don't show up on time, you gotta hold yourself accountable to show up on time. Just because mom is the owner, there's still some accountability there. So this is the rule. You show up at 9:00, not 9:01. You get there 9:00, you're late. So it's that accountability. It's just like, you got to hold up your end of the bargain. If we got this agreement, and I say you got to be here at a certain time, any other employer, again, you can't be late for them either. It's like being accountable. If someone asked you to do something, being accountable. If someone had asked you to do a project and you say you're gonna get it in at this time, be accountable for doing it when you say you're gonna get it done. So that's the accountability that I'm talking about, with your employer. You make me a promise, things you're supposed to do. Like my kids, they have to get up at 10:00. No one can sleep past 10.
I love that.
Can't sleep past 10. And at 11, we start chore. You better get up at 10, because at 11:00, to get your breakfast going and all that. Because at 11 on Saturdays, Fred is usually working in the yard because he's a gardener. He loves the garden. And the kids out there with him cutting grass, doing whatever needs to be done around the house while they're here.
No, that makes sense. I love that. Hold on 1 second, nigga. Sorry about that.
Okay. So let's just go 5 more minutes because I do have to. I'm glad you said you said 8:45.
Yeah. I got to run at 8:45.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we can go 5 more minutes. But yeah, so just dealing with the accountability piece. So these people who want this soft life, right? How do you explain to them that a soft life is not given, but it's built/earned?
I mean, it really depends on who wants. Some people don't want to hear it though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like because some people feel like they're entitled to it. If you've grown up and the messaging has been, you're the princess and, you know, you shouldn't have to lift a finger. You're a girl and that's a man's job. And, you know, all the messages, you know, it's just like no one wants to experience any sort of stress. You guys have fun. Once the fun stops, I'm leaving. And I don't know, just giving them a reality check. I think that's just a reality. But if a person has that mindset, Michael, I don't really feel like there's much you can say.
Really?
I don't. Because if that's your mindset, that's just like you can't get me to say, I got it. My life have to be soft all the time. You could not convince me that that's realistic. I'm okay with moments of softness. I don't want to be on a struggle bus all the time. And I'm not struggling, but there are times where things go on as a business owner, as you know, it's like, Lord, am I gonna make payroll?
Listen, hey, I get it.
Yeah, because it's just like the insurance claims ain't processing, they delayed, and because you gotta wait on managed care. So that's the dilemma we have sometimes with managed care. And with this administration changing so much. So yeah, so there's some struggles there. But you know, God always provides.
Always is faithful, without a single doubt.
He does.
So yeah, I guess, you know, one of the things that I get concerned too with is how do we combat this notion of a soft life, right? Because you have so many women who have bought into this. And when Nneka, I tagged you a lot, by the way. I don't know if you got all the tags.
Maybe I gotta look and see. Oh, which one, on Facebook or?
Well, Facebook and Instagram. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've tagged you quite a bit because I started just looking at nothing on TikTok, just Instagram, Facebook. But what I've done is just, you know, I'm doing my research, listened to a bunch of podcasts, and read a lot of comments too. And it was just interesting to me that so many women felt like they were entitled to this. And I did run across, because I don't want to paint a broad brush here, but I did run across just a few women who said, wait a minute, yeah, you could get the soft life and, you know, maybe you deserve it. But there's some things that go into this, like, what have you done to earn this soft life? What have you done to build a soft life? And why are you so dependent upon somebody else creating this for you, as opposed to you putting some skin in the game? Like, you don't have no skin in the game. I'm just wondering, how do we combat that attitude? Because that's a very infectious attitude. People begin to feel like, oh, you know what? I deserve this as well. And I'm saying to myself, I'm not so certain that you do. Like, what have you done to build? Like, why should somebody else be responsible for that part of your happiness?
Well,
why put that on somebody?
That's a good point, Michael. But some men are okay with it, though. So if you find a man that's okay with that, if you go out seeking that type of man, that's fine. But, you know, because there are men out there, they call them sugar daddies, who want to just take care of women. But you got to stay pretty. You got to stay thin. You got to hold up your end of the bargain. So I feel like for women who that's their purpose, to have a soft life, that's what they're going to seek. They're going to seek a soft life. I just don't feel like there's no way around it. You know, I feel like we have to be mindful of our messaging, because implicitly and explicitly, I feel like we do things like, for instance, you probably spoiled your girls, right?
Still, right? I still do.
So but again, your wife, but you probably still had a balance, right? So because you and your wife are together, and I'm sure they see how you treat their mom, they could very well make a comparison, like, this is how I want to live. But it sounds like you have reasonable girls. You have reasonable.
They are very reasonable, very, very reasonable.
So, you did something where you still presented reality. Yes. Whereas some dads make it where you can't do this for my daughter. You can't do this. I mean, some fathers create these monsters, so if you will.
No, you're right. You know what's interesting? I have I gotta get ready to run, Nneka.
Yeah, we gotta go. But I gotta ask you a question later on. But don't worry about it now. But it's a question. Can you get offline for real quick?
Yep. All right. Thank you,
okay.
Nneka.
Thank you. Bye. Real quick. Let me ask you real quick.